welcome to our NewsX podcast show, which is Get Candid with Chitvan. And here with me is Nishta Khurana, counseling psychologist and master's in clinical psychology, expertise in anxiety, low mood, depression, anxiety work-life balance, adjustment issues, relationship, and so on. Hi, Nishta Khurana. Welcome to our podcast show.
Hi everyone, and thank you for having me.
So, how have you been, Nishta? How's things?
I've been fine. It's a normal day at work, but yeah, it's the end of the week and I'm pumped up for the weekend. Looking forward to some breaks and hoping to create that balance.
Yeah, we are feeling the same for us also, creating the balance basically. So let's start the video and just start the interview. So I'm gonna ask few questions with you related to technology or mental health and all that. So my very first question to you, like, how has the increasing use of digital technology impacted your overall well-being?
Okay. So I when we talk about overall well-being, whether it's for me or anyone in any sort of an age group or coming from any sort of a background, I think all of us at various levels have been impacted by it very negatively. Though technology is something that is totally indispensable at this point of time, we are gathered by devices all around, and we can't really imagine a life without it. As much as it is positive, at the same time it definitely harms us in a way wherein we tend to lose our focus. We are sort of experiencing a lower attention span when we are sitting at work. So these are certain major negative impacts that are very visible in a day to day life also, but we don't really consider it, or we are not able to identify as to why this happens to us. We always think that, oh, maybe I am fatigued, yeah, or I have done too much and I am low on energy or mood. But sometimes it can also be the increased use of technology. Um, it can also make us very dependent, sort of an addiction towards using these devices and not being able to sort of live without them. Say for example, if we lose power, then we in our house, then it sort of becomes a big issue for us to sort of survive without our phone or ipad or laptop. So it sort of is a borderline addiction as well, is what we've been seeing in a lot of young children as well as teenagers, and people like us in our age group in 20s and 30s.
So, my next question to you, have you noticed any changes in your sleep since using digital devices more frequently?
Well, of course, I think this has been a personal experience as well as a general observation when I work with my clients, especially in the age groups as I mentioned. So yeah, I mean, initially I feel like, especially during the COVID period where we couldn't go out and there wasn't much to do, and we were very low on human interaction as well. I think usage of these electronic devices increased, and the sleep cycles totally got messed up. We used to sleep in a little late, and then when we used to wake up, either one would wake up with headaches or some sort of reduced energy levels. So I think definitely that has impacted the quality of the sleep cycle as well as the quantity, because we are sleeping in late, and then for some or the other reason one has to wake up at a particular point of time during the day, in the morning, and to get things started. So I have observed that the quality and the quantity has reduced, as well as the energy levels that one should ideally have while they wake up have also reduced. But yeah, I mean, the idea is to just sort of balance it out as much as possible. Like, the usage should be limited, and perhaps that can also sort of correct the sleep cycle.
People are using it, no? Still, they are using the social media platform. They are using since till like one or two, and they are impacting their health, mental health as well. They are influenced by digital platform. You don't think so?
Absolutely, they are. I think, there's a lot of mindless scrolling that is happening at the end of the day, especially because maybe during the day we are definitely surrounded by people, or there is something or the other going on. There is some task that you are sort of involved in. So one might not look at it as a problem towards the end of the day, because the idea is that, okay, I've not opened up my Instagram or Facebook during the entire day. So this particular time period when I am using my phone at the end of the day is fine, because I've not used it during the entire day. But then we don't realize it that once we are into it, it sort of becomes very difficult to get out of it. We get reeled in so much that there's a lot of mindless scrolling that is happening, and because it's quite mindless, people who are much younger, or they tend to get influenced easily, and that influence is more negative than positive, so it's a bit difficult for people out there to sort of filter it out.
Yeah, that is very true. So my next question to you, like in the context of remote work and virtual communication, what psychological challenges may arise and how can organizations address and proactively?
I think the common challenges that could arise would be that, again, a lot of dependency on technology, right? Because I think a lot of times any of our work also requires a lot of human interaction and quality human interaction and communication. So when that creates a problem at a more organizational level, things do tend to go downhill, because maybe at all times mailing and chatting could not be the perfect way of communicating, and maybe Zoom calls are also sometimes we are bugged by limitations there as well. We are bugged by its connectivity.
Hmm,
So difficulties do arise wherein communication and interaction levels and quality of it can go down. I think it can also impact the teamwork, the quality teamwork one would require to sort of be in an organization and deliver
hmm,
productive outcomes. I think the traditional office spaces that we are used to, that you're sitting together, brainstorming, communicating, and sort of getting things done, is definitely much better, so that the dependency and the quality doesn't get hampered. Within an organization at a at a more management sort of a level, I think we can create some sort of a balance by having, like, you know um, digital free zones, wherein if you are at the office, then there needs to be a space wherein you can just hang out, relax, not be surrounded by devices and
sorry to
things like that.
between, but if people are like working since morning to evening for 8 or 9 hours, then what they gonna do about it? Like they can't deal with it, no?
Right, absolutely. I mean, in that
How
continuum, it
can they
becomes
adjust if they are
difficult.
not taking a break or something like that is happening?
Right. Absolutely. Of course, as much as we can't take too many breaks during the entire work day, we could just take like one or two big breaks. The idea of having smaller breaks and being a little more mindful that, okay, if I feel that right now I'm not able to sort of focus and I'm just not able to get through with the task, then small breaks are definitely important. And I think it is more at an individual level where we can actually identify that for ourselves. And a small break could be literally anything. Like, you could just invest in some sort of a movement, that get up from the desk, go out for a walk, clear your mind, being a little more mindful about where my emotional and mental energy is getting invested. So that, having said that, it can become an indicator where this small break needs to be a part of their day, and then they should just go for it.
True. So my next question to you, like how can we balance the advantage of technology driven mental health tools with concern related to privacy data and security?
Hmm. I think, as we are so invested in technology, and the awareness because of technology existing has increased so much, right? I think when it comes to data privacy and security related concerns, it's very important for all of us out there to sort of, keep cross checking, keep cross verifying. And again, that would require a lot of attention to detail and sort of interacting with the right people, so that we don't land up in issue that is going to be a very big problem going forward, like how we keep hearing about these financial scams, or fraudulent schemes that we sort of hear of. So I think cross verification and authentication is something that we all need to be very aware of, and again, that will require a lot of filtration and communication, so that we are aware exactly what is going on around me, and one needs to be alert as well. So the mental health tools, like having to engage in very small brain exercises which help you to remain more attentive and alert, I think that can be very helpful, so that we can sharpen our mind and sort of be aware of these details as well.
For our audience, what kind of mental suggestion you're gonna give? Like exercise, or what you're gonna do? Like if you are mentally ill, or you think that it can, like, it gonna be beneficial for you in your future. If you do this, then that gonna be recover for you.
Right. So, of course, when we talk about mental health related issues, we have a big range that we see, and people tend to deal with it very differently. But a very small suggestion that I think that all of us can use to sort of keep in check our mental health on a daily basis is we can focus on some sort of mindfulness exercises. We can focus on our rhythmic breathing, and sort of focus on a very small thing that we use with our clients, especially when we tend to go through stress on a day to day basis. We do a 4-4-4 technique. Basically, the first 4 seconds would be that you just take a long inhalation, you hold your breath for 4 seconds, and then another 4 seconds, and gradually release while imagining a square in your mind, so that you are sort of focused on your breath, and you're able to sort of relax in the moment and just deal with that day to day stress, so that you don't feel like you're getting too overwhelmed, or it doesn't pull you into a lot of overthinking, which could go ahead and create more anxiety. So in the moment, I feel this is a very small exercise one could do to sort of be with themselves and focus.
So, what do you suggest people, like? Basically, people are getting depressed. They have anxiety issues. They have, like, they have many things. Like, as a psychologist, what do you suggest them? Like, how they can recover from it?
Right. No, I think, see, when it comes to something like depression or any other clinical disorder, as we talk about, then firstly, the intervention, as a counselor, I would definitely go ahead and recommend that, talk therapy is something that is very, very important, because once we start addressing our thoughts, our issues on a blank canvas, something where a counselor can give you that kind of a space, then I feel that's the right step to begin with, to sort of first understand what is the issue, where this might be coming from, and then what can we do about it, and where the counselor at all stages can help the person to sort of get out of it. Being a long process, it requires a lot of patience and cooperation between the two people involved while the therapy process starts. But talk therapy is definitely first things first recommended, so that they can at least start identifying the issues that they might be dealing with.
Can you share insights on the potential psychological impact of emerging technologies such as virtual reality or artificial intelligence or mental health?
So, yeah, I mean, definitely. I think virtual reality is something that I have been reading about and discussing with my colleagues lately, and thinking that, what we can do, sort of, use that tool in order to create more mental well being for people. So, when it comes to virtual reality, I feel like a lot of exercises that we already tend to teach our clients in therapy requires a lot of imagination and sort of a guidance, wherein we help them to sort of get into a different zone where they can feel more mentally relaxed. And I think virtual reality can play a very big role here in order to stimulate that sort of imagination, as if it seems very real,
Yeah.
something out of their minds, yet also helping them at the same point of time, wherein it can help them to be more grounded at the time.
Yeah, true. I don't want to leave you right now, but my very last question to you is that, are there any specific digital activities or platform that you find more harmful or beneficial to anybody for their mental well-being?
Yeah, I mean, because I deal with a lot of youngsters and a lot of people from
What
the
age group
20s.
you are dealing with?
So usually day in and out, I deal with a lot of teenagers as well as a lot of people who are from the 20s till the 30s, 35. So that my maximum observation comes from there when I'm dealing with these people. And I think the harmful part of any app or any social media platform that I have been able to observe is these social media apps like Instagram or Snapchat, because people tend to filter out a lot of the issues that they tend to face in their real life, and
They
then they
usually
try
get
to
connected
portray.
with the social media platform.
uh, yes, for connectedness, definitely it's a good medium, but the downside of it all is that people are getting influenced by looking at other people's life, and the life is portrayed is something that's just all good, as if there is nothing wrong with them. And we know that it's a very unrealistic picture that people tend to portray. It's filtered out, so people think that, okay, in the other person's life everything is fine, but not with me. So that is a very big downside that people in this age group, especially the one I deal with, I see a lot of that happening. It's more in women than men, because we see a lot of body image issues coming in from them, and then we, connected to that, we see a lot of men and women dealing with low self esteem and low self confidence, which creates more anxiety going forward. So, the harmful one would be this. And the more beneficial platform that I have been able to identify for various purposes, I would say, then of course, there are. When we talk about keeping in check your mental health, we have a lot of apps these days which help us to do so. We have your Headspace and Calm, which can help you with sort of dealing with your mental health. But in general also, I think I feel like the platform that has been more helpful for me than anything else, in order to sort of how it has benefited me, then I think just my organizers and my notes and my reading apps have been the best for me, because it feels like I am in a world wherein I can just sort of be with myself and not care about what is going on for a minute. And I think that's a good kind of a break that all of us should take.
So my last question to you: what advice you gonna give to our audience that what they be aware of it and what they are not, like they are not aware of it? Like what gonna advice you gonna give to them?
I think in order to have our audience become more aware of how technology impacts us negatively, I think because the positive benefits are something that we are all able to identify very quickly, we enjoy them very nicely day in and out. But I think the negatives is something that we tend to ignore. I think that is definitely creating more harm. So I think my message to this audience would just be that try and strike a balance as much as possible. If you know that beyond a particular point of time wherein you've had some sort of general connectedness, talking to friends and family, or you're done with work and all the productive part of the day is over, I think it's very important to sort of ground yourself, right? Wherein you can just create a digital free zone within your own house. I think that's very important. And once we start doing that, gradually one will realize that, okay, how negatively technology tends to impact us and create that whole dependency over it.
Hmm,
We just need to look at the flip side a little more by creating that kind of a balance.
that is true. Thank you so much, Nishta, to be on our show, Get Candid with Chitvan. I'm glad that you aware our audience, people also, for their mental health.
Thank you so much.